Foundry VTT is a great piece of software, and with certain modules, you'll be able to add bonuses automatically to rolls. But what if you use third-party content or homebrew races, classes, and items? Well, in this case, those modules will not be able to help you, and you will have to add these bonuses manually. Until now, let me show you a very powerful module called Build a Bonus that allows you to set up automatic bonuses with a robust tool. And you'll want to stick around towards the end of the video because I'll be showing you practical examples of how to set up bonuses with this module. Hi, it's me, Fondue, your Foundry VTT wizard. I have over 400 hours using Foundry, and I want to show you how to get the most out of Foundry VTT. If that sounds like your thing, hit that subscribe button down there to get my latest videos. By the way, shout out to Aeon505 and Jerry Hank Asuru. Thanks to their comments to my previous video where I listed a bunch of modules, I made this tutorial, so you can thank them for this video existing. Before we get started, as usual, a few disclaimers. Firstly, I'm going to be showing you Build a Bonus on Foundry version 11, and I cannot guarantee that this module will work on other Foundry versions. The very first version of Build a Bonus was on Foundry version 10, but I don't know how it works with the latest DnD 5e system, so you should stick to Foundry version 11 with this module, in my opinion. Secondly, Build a Bonus does not support MIDI QOL, Ready Set Roll, and Whistler's Item Rolls Extended. These modules overhaul the core roll behavior and thus can cause issues with Build a Bonus. As such, it is not recommended to use these modules together with Build a Bonus. But if they do work well together, it's purely a happy accident according to the developer. Thirdly, this module is meant for the DnD 5e game system. And lastly, you can find a link to the module in the description below. With those disclaimers out of the way, let's jump into Foundry and I'll show you how to use Build a Bonus. All right, we are now inside Foundry VTT, and first things first, turn on the module in question. So the way that we do that is by going up here to the right-hand side, Game Settings, Manage Modules, and then here find Build a Bonus, tab it on, and then Save Module Settings. You will have your world reload for you if you didn't have the module already turned on, but other than that, we can get started. Let me first show you how to add a bonus to any actor or item or whatever you would like to add your custom bonus to. So first things first, let's open up an actor. I'm just going to go open up this wizard character here. I'll zoom in for better view. And now you'll notice that up here where there's prototype token next to it, there's this little new button that has like an otter on it. That is the Build a Bonus button. So when we click that, it's going to open a brand new window for us. As you can see, this is where we are going to add our bonuses. Now, there are 6 types of custom bonuses that you can have. You can add a bonus to attack rolls, damage rolls, save DCs, saving throws, ability checks, and hit die rolls. So depending on what type of bonus you want to add, you will choose one of these. I'll run you through all of them very quickly because they're a little bit different in what they have inside of them. So if we take attack rolls, first, there's the identifier here, so you can give a name for your bonus. We could call this generic orc bonus. I don't know, maybe because of your orc you get some kind of attack bonus. I don't know. So that's what it was called. And then you can give because we are an orc, we get attack bonus. And then if we save this, you can see now here there is the generic orc bonus, and below it there's an explanation on what it does. So this is just for your own housekeeping, so you remember what your bonuses do. Anyway, back here. So we have the bonuses part down here. So this is how much of a bonus you are going to have. So here you can put any number. You could say +2, +1, or you can put a die roll like 1d6, 1d8, any type of stuff that you want here. Also, attributes also work. I'm going to talk about attributes in a little bit, but they can also be put here. So if you have something that scales with, for example, your spell levels, then you can put that there, but I'll talk about that a little bit later. Then we have a critical range if you want to adjust the critical range or the fumble range. I know one of you asked that, is it possible to have a bonus through this where if you fumble, then it would roll on a separate table to see what happens? Unfortunately, that is not possible. You can only add numeric bonuses to these specific rolls that I mentioned before. So these are the attributes that you can configure. I'll talk about filters in just a little bit. Let's go back and look at damage rolls. So this is, of course, damage rolls. Same thing here, identifier and description. It's the same thing. Then the damage bonus itself, how much damage do you get? The critical dice, if you want to adjust the actual critical dice itself, and then the critical damage itself, if you want to adjust that. So this would, damage bonus would be for regular damage, and critical damage would be just for critical damage. Now, here are some extra modifiers that you had. As you notice, if you hover your mouse over here, it is going to tell you what it does. So first die, if checked, the die modifier applies to the first die only. So if you want these to apply only to the first die, then you check this. Reroll here means that if it is less than a certain number, which you can define here, then the dice will be rerolled. And the same thing here. If the dice roll is higher than something, then you will explode the dice. And if I'm not mistaken, this is a house rule in D&D 5th edition, where if you roll a certain amount of damage when you do a critical damage, then you get to roll another extra dice or something. I haven't used it myself exactly, but it's something like that. Let me know in the comments if I got that wrong. But then there's two things here that are important: recursive and once. So this is specifically for rerolls. Like if, let's say, you would reroll a 1d6 roll if it is less than 4. So if you get 3 and then you reroll and you get 3 again, do you want it to only happen once so that you don't roll the new roll again, even if it is below that? Or do you want to be recursive, meaning it will roll until it gets a number that is higher than this threshold? And the same thing for these exploding dice. So keep that in mind. Then we have the minimum value that you can roll and the maximum value that you can roll. And these are all the components that you have for the damage roll bonuses. Let's go back. Then we have save DCs. This is very simple. You just have save DC bonuses. As I mentioned, you can put just straight up numbers. Here's plus or minus. You can put dice rolls. You can put attributes, all that stuff. Like I said, we'll talk about filters in just a second. I want to run through all of these different bonuses first. Then saving throws. Here also it is quite simple. You have the saving bonus here, but I am not entirely certain what the death target and the death critical here mean. I tried to look into the documentation on what they mean. Unfortunately, I could not find the answer to that. So if you know this, let me know in the comments below. But these are two attributes that I am not entirely sure what they do. Now then, the next one, ability checks. Here, once again, simple. Check bonus, number, dice roll, attribute, the usual. And lastly, we have hit die rolls, and hit die rolls have the same attributes as the damage die rolls. So as you can see here, first die, reroll, explode, minimum, maximum. I'm not going to go through them again since I just explained what they do. And then you have the die roll bonus. Now then, let's talk about the filters. So let's say you have an attack roll bonus that you want to add, and the attack roll bonus is 1d6, let's say. You get 1d6. But what is the condition that triggers this 1d6? Because if we leave this as is now, it will always trigger. There's no filter to it. So the filter defines what triggers the bonus. And there are many different conditions here that can do that. We have ability modifiers. So if we select this, that means that if there is a specific ability modifier used, then this 1d6 will trigger. Let's say that you want it to only happen on attack rolls using strength-based weapons. Then you could click the plus icon here. And now, of course, first you're going to wonder what happened. Nothing changed. You have to click on filters here, and that will open a new tab. And here you can see the abilities now. Luckily, you don't have to know the actual attribute names. You can just click the keys thing here and then choose which ones you want to include. If we want that to be strength, include, apply selection. So now the bonus will only apply to attack rolls using strength modifier, for example. But then the other filters here are actor creature type. So your actor has to be a certain type of creature for this to apply. A arbitrary comparison that you can make between numbers, roll data properties, strings, or a combination of the three. This one seemed the most complex to me, so I would be careful with this one. Then you have armor types. Let's say that the bonus will apply if you're wielding heavy armor, for example. Be very specific, but I'm just giving you examples of this type of things that you could do with this. Then you can do it with armor type. You have attack types, so let's say this would only apply to melee weapon attacks. You can choose that with that, or you have ranged or spell attacks, etc. Then we have a custom script. If you want to run a custom script to define that, you can definitely do that as well. I'm not very well versed in scripts in Foundry, so that's up to you. And we have damage types. Maybe you want this bonus only to apply to certain damage types. Health percentage, so you could define that if the actor has at least a certain amount of health, then it applies. Item types, you could apply this to certain types of items. Preparation mode, so this is mostly going to be applied to spells. So you want, for example, pact magic will get a certain point bonus, or at will magic gets a certain bonus. Then you could do that. Then proficiency levels, like if the actor has to have a certain level of proficiency for this bonus to apply. Remaining spell slots, if you have to have a certain amount of spell slots for the bonus to apply. Spell components, if you have to have certain spell component tags for the bonus to apply. Spell levels, if the spell has to be of a certain level the bonus to apply, spell schools, so if it has to be of a certain spell school to apply, target conditions, so the target that you are attacking, if it has to be of a certain condition, for example, blind or charm, then the target creature type, so the target has to be a certain creature type. Let's say the bonus is only applicable for undead creatures. Token sizes, so if the token size is certain, then the bonus applies. Weapon properties that the item has to have or cannot have for the bonus to apply. And then weapon types, so battle axe, short sword, long sword, etc. And this is how you build bonuses with Build a Bonus. But of course, this is all quite a lot to take in. It might be difficult to understand what this means from a practical standpoint. And I'm going to show you a couple of examples now on what kind of bonuses you could build with these. But before we get to that, let me just quickly show you the attributes that you can use in these, for example, the attack bonus thing here. So you might be wondering, like, how do I know if I want to use like the character HP or the spell level, for example, as a attack bonus attribute? How can I get that? What is the attribute name? You can actually find that out. The GitHub for the DnD 5e system for Foundry has all of the actor properties here as the attributes that you can use. I'm going to link this down below in the description. So if you need any of the specific attributes, like, you know, the bonus that you get for attacks or classes or proficiencies or skills or whatever, you can find them here and put them in to build a bonus. Anyway, back to here. Let me show you now 3 examples of the type of bonuses that you could build for your character. Now, we have this wizard character here. Let's say they are a divination wizard. And because they're a divination wizard, they get plus, let's go back a little bit. They get a bonus to their spell save DC equal to the spell level, but only for divination spells. You can set that up. Let me show you how. Firstly, once again, we're going to open Build a Bonus. Now, as you can see, I actually already built the bonus here just to test things out, but I'm going to show you how to build that from scratch. So first off, we're going to go into save DCs because that's the one we want to affect. We're going to call this Divination Spell DC Bonus. Whenever a spell is cast that is a divination spell, add the spell level to the spell save DC as a bonus. And again, I'm just putting that there because then in the future, when we come back to this, we can be like, oh yes, that's what this does, instead of having to jump into it and see what it does. First things first, let's put the filter in here. We are going to scroll down here and find the spell schools. This is, of course, going to define what schools are going to be included. We're going to click keys over here, and we're going to choose divination include. So now apply selection. So now our bonuses will only apply to spell schools. But then how do we dynamically find out what is the spell level? Because if you have to do that manually every time, that would be a huge hassle. Luckily, those attributes I mentioned will come in handy now. We're going to use an attribute here, plus, oh, there's another plus there accidentally, plus item at item.level. So this will check the level of the item and then give it to us as a save DC bonus. Then once we're done, save this bonus. It is saved. We can see it is here. Let me turn this example that I made off so it doesn't get in our way. We also have some controls here. This one is here to just easily toggle the bonus on and off if you ever need to. And here's one for duplicating it. If you need to edit this, you can press this little cog here, and then there's a way to delete it as well. I'll actually delete this example so you can see what that looks like. The lower ones here I will explain in just a little bit in one of the other examples. So now we have this bonus added. Let me show it to you in action. So I'm going to add the wizard here into the field. There's a little fire elemental here, as you can see. Now let's open the character sheet. We're going to target the fire elemental. And now we are going to cast Mind Spike, which is a divination spell that requires saving. So let's cast that. I'm not going to consume a spell slot for this for easier casting. Let me just move myself once again. Now we can see here that the saving throw DC, it is quite small, even though I am zoomed in. It says saving throw DC 16, wisdom save. But if we look at our character sheet down here, it says spell DC 14. So it added the level of the spell, second level, into the spell save DC amount. So we can see that it is indeed working. And now every time we cast a divination spell, it will add the spell level to the spell save DC of that spell, if it has a spell save DC. Of course, if it has like and a regular just attack roll, it won't affect it. This is one of the ways. Let me show you another example. In this example, we're going to have a paladin that has an aura around them that anytime an enemy is within that aura, they get a -2 to all of their attack rolls. Once again, we're going to open build a bonus up top. Then you can see I already made the example over here. We're going to create a attack roll. And here we're going to give it a name once again, aura of hard to hit. Enemies within aura, capitalize that aura, get -2 to attack rolls. There. Then all we need to do actually within here is just put a -2 and then save this bonus. Now you might be wondering, how will build a bonus know when the enemy is within a certain range, 10 feet? That is where the lower row here comes into play. So this cog here opens an additional window, which is for aura configuration. So this is specifically for auras. So in our case, we want the range to be 10 feet. We don't want it to apply to templates. The valid targets are enemy targets. This is important because if you put any targets, then even your allies within that range will get affected. Of course, if you had a buff, then you would probably want that only for allied targets, etc. Then, do we want it to affect self? No, we do not. Are there any blocking conditions? If, for example, well, if you were dead, for example, then we want it to be blocked. Or if we are not restrained, but what's the word I'm looking? Unconscious, then we don't want it to affect. So if those statuses get put on our character, then this does no longer apply. Do we need line of sight? If so, we check this. Do we need to make sure that there is a direct, unobstructed path between the actor and the enemy? For us, it doesn't matter. So save. And now we're going to test this out. I'm just going to drag the paladin in here. Boom. Now we have the enemy within 10 feet. Well, let me just move myself to the other side again. And the enemy is going to attack our paladin. We are going to attack with a touch attack. And as you can see down here, we have a little attack prompt. Let's attack. And here you can already see we have 1d20 +3 +3 -2, which is from the aura. So if we attack normally, we're going to roll some dice, and then we can see there was a -2 applied. Now, if we were to turn off the aura, let's go turn it off from here. Boom, now it's turned off. And then we do the attack again, you can see now that -2 is no longer there. Then we can roll normally. It's a nat 1, so it wouldn't hit. But the point is, the -1 is no longer there. So this is how you set up an aura that affects enemies or allies or whatever within a certain range. And there's one last example that I want to show you, because you can also add bonuses to items. So let me show you how to add that for an item. Now, let's say we have a magical longsword that has 10 charges and allows us to add 1d6 per charge to our damage rolls, and we can pick how many charges we use from 1 to 6 on an attack basis. You can do that. Let me show you how. So firstly, we're going to have to create a new weapon, a longsword in this case. Then in the details, we have to make sure that we have limited uses turned on. Let me plunk that up back to 10. So we have 10 in this case, and per long rest here, the recovery period, you can of course decide what the recovery period is for your magic item. So now we have this set up here. Then we once again have the little otter button up here, and we open that now. Now, as you can see, I was testing things out already, but we go to the damage roll section, and here things are pretty simple. Let's first add damage to rolls. You can add 1d6 to 6d6 per damage roll, for example. Then the damage bonus is a simple 1d6. Here, once again, we don't have to do anything else. We're going to save this bonus, and I'm going to turn that off because that's the old one. And now, the other 3 things here are the important ones that I will explain to you now. The first one is toggle whether this bonus applies only to the item on which it is created. We want that to be toggled on, otherwise this will apply to other items within the actor's possession. We don't want that. Next, toggle where this bonus should be opted into when rolling. Yes, we want this to be an opt-in bonus so that the player can choose whether they want to apply that bonus or not. So yes. And then the last one is very important. It's configure whether and how the bonus consumes a property. So this is the one that we're going to open now because we want this to consume the uses that we just set up. So consumption type. limited uses. Now, for some reason, and I'm not sure why, there are 2 sets of limited uses here on this item that I've created, although there's only 1. So you have to be careful to select the right one. Unfortunately, you're gonna have to test which one is the right one, but you'll know in just a second which one it is. So limited uses, enable scaling. Yes, the consumed value minimum is 1d6 and the maximum is 6d6. So these, 6d6. Oh, sorry, the consumed value is 1 and the maximum value is 6. So this is the amount of charges that you can consume. Minimum 1, maximum 6. And then the scaling formula. So this will tell Build a Bonus how much it should scale with each value of the property consumed. We want it to be 1d6. So 2 is 2d6, 3 is 3d6, and so on and so forth. So now we're going to hit save. So this is now set up for us. And if we chose the right limited uses, we will be able to see it in action now. Let me show you. Once again, we are faced with our fiery friend here, but this time the Paladin is going to attack with the longsword. Let me just move myself once again. We're going to hit the attack roll. So when we're asked if we want to use our ability, we do want to use it, but we don't want to consume available uses. So there we go. And then we have our attack roll. We're going to roll attack, just a normal roll. It doesn't matter if it hits now or not. This time it did hit. So then we're going to roll for the damage roll. And yes, we did add the right limited uses, because now you see this new section added here, which is add damage to rolls. You can add 1d6 to 66 per damage roll, and then you get to decide how many of the resource you want to use. Let's say we want to use 3. Here is the very important part. You have to press this plus button here, otherwise the bonus won't get applied. So now, as you can see here, it just says 1d8 plus 0 plus at bonus. But then when we click this, it adds a situational bonus, 3d6, and a little check mark here. So remember to press this plus. It's very important. And then we're going to roll for normal damage. And now you can see we got 3d6 added to our roll. And then if we go up here to the longsword, we edit it and we go to check the details, we can see that 3 of the 10 uses were used. So this is how you could add some kind of limited use bonus for your magical weapons and then have it automatically subtract, and then you can opt into it as well. The very last thing I want to show you about Build a Bonus are the settings. They're simple, but there's some interesting things there that I think you should see. So we're going to go to the top right-hand corner, game settings, configure settings, and then Build a Bonus. So let me just move myself to the other side. What we have here is show for players. So this is on by default. If you want players to be able to open that window and do things themselves, you might want to have that on. You might not. You can tap it off here and then players won't be able to access that. Display label. Now this is a bit of an interesting name, but what this essentially means is that the little button that we see, let me just open a character sheet here. So this little button that we see over here, do you want it to just be that little button, or do you want it to be the logo plus saying Build a Bonus? I personally prefer that it says Build a Bonus because the button now is quite small and easy to miss. Then you have the disable custom script filter in case you want to disable that, and then show aura ranges. Now I tried this show aura ranges, but I couldn't really get it to work, or I didn't quite understand how it would visualize that. I mean, it says here that this does not apply the template to template auras or auras with unlimited targets. If the roller is within the aura, it is marked green, otherwise red. And I couldn't really see that happening myself. If you are able to get that to work, great, but just word of warning, I couldn't really see any kind of showing of the aura range itself. Well, and let's save the change here, and then if we close this and reopen it, now you can see it says Build a Bonus there. And I think it's just a little bit easier to read, but of course, if this bar is very full for you already, then you might not want that Build a Bonus text there. But that's it. That's how you can set up bonuses. So get creative. All of your homebrewed items that have weird specific bonuses, you can now do with Build a Bonus. Go have some fun. There you have it. Now you'll be able to set up all the bonuses you want for your weird D&D 5e homebrew content. This module is very powerful with how much you can customize, and I can imagine all the things you'll get up to. What kind of bonuses will you use for Build a Bonus? Let me know in the comments below. I can't wait to read what kind of ideas you come up with. And while you're down there commenting, I would kindly ask for a like for the video and to subscribe to my channel. These small acts make sure that my videos reach more people on YouTube. Also, if you want to show me some extra appreciation, completely voluntarily, you can do that by giving a super thanks. All the funds from that will go towards making better videos in the future. You can find the thanks button just below the video. And hey, did you know that I also stream on Twitch? You can catch my streams live on twitch.tv/diceandeasy every Monday and Wednesday at 6 p.m. Eastern European Time, which is 8 a.m. Pacific and 11 a.m. Eastern. Come on over there, hang out with me, and let's talk TTRPGs. You can find a link to my channel in the description below. On the screen right now, you're going to see another video of mine where I show you how to animate maps inside Foundry VTT, and one of the techniques involves using lights. Check it out, it's a good one. Thank you very much for watching this video. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.